There's great scenes in Toulouse. Gianluigi Buffon singing that with all of his heart, eyes closed, very passionate, of course, about Italian football. The goalkeeper from Tuscany winning his 158th cap for Italy in this match this afternoon. Already we're into match number 19 of the championship, and amongst it all, it is the Italians who've produced much food for thought, written off by so many. They scaled an unexpected height against Belgium, nosebleed territory for coach Antonio Conte, and Trevor Sinclair was just spotting actually that Conte still has a little bit of facial damage after being caught up in the celebrations of that first Italian goal against the Belgians. He seems to have a bit of a cut on his lip as well.
Yeah, he's obviously taken a little whack in the celebrations, getting a little bit overzealous there. But great scenes. I mean, I do particularly like that Italian national anthem. It's, and you see in the fans and Buffon, like you mentioned, singing it wholeheartedly. It's like it's his first cap. It's brilliant to see, lots of passion, and great to see both sets of supporters. You know, looks like a really carnival atmosphere, and I'm sure the football's going to match that.
A pat on the back for Ibrahimovic from Buffon as the two captains engage with the referee on the halfway line. A hearty handshake as well between the two, former Juventus teammates actually. Of course, the Italians now need to show that they can be consistent. If they win this game, they will qualify for the last 16 this afternoon. Sweden, they were poor and a little lucky to draw against Ireland, so they need to improve. Italy, top of Group E at kick-off time on 3 points. Sweden, 1 point. Ireland 1, Belgium 0. Italy making one change from the victory over Belgium. That's at wing-back. Florenzi of Roma comes in for Matteo Darmian of Manchester United, who's on the bench. So it's Buffon in goal, and then the BBC, the three centre-backs, Barzagli, Bonucci and Chiellini. Candreva and Florenzi are the wing-backs, De Rossi, Parolo and Giaccherini in midfield, although Giaccherini, of course, gets forward to support Eder and Pella. Eder can drop back, and the two wing-backs push on whenever Italy have possession of the ball. Sweden, three changes. Isaksson in goal. Then across the back, it's Lindelof, Gramquist, Erik Johansson and Martin Olsson of Norwich. In midfield, Forsberg, Hellstrom, Ekdal comes in, Seb Larsson of Sunderland, John Guidetti coming in, as John Hartson was discussing a few moments ago, to partner Zlatan Ibrahimovic, his 115th cap. The man who has legendary status, at least that's what he tells us. And of course he can write his name further into the record books if he scores here, because he's aiming to become the first man to score in 4 separate European Championship final tournaments. We are underway. Sweden have kicked off. Italy in the blue shirts for this match this afternoon have possession inside their own half with Barzagli, and Italy are playing in the first half from left to right. Sweden in the yellow shirts and blue shorts and yellow socks. Both teams in their main colours, which is always good to see. Didn't understand why Wales weren't in red yesterday. And a long ball from Italy goes astray, out for a Swedish throw inside their own half. What are you expecting from the game today, Trevor?
Well, I think it's going to be very difficult for the Swedish team to get to grips with this Italian formation. Obviously they still play with two up top, and Giaccherini joins there to make it almost a three up top. But there's the rotation and the way that they adapt, depending on how the game's panning out, is the most interesting thing about this formation. And you know, I think you have to work very hard at training to nail this formation down in the Italian squad. And if they do that well, and I'm sure Conte's been very thorough with the due diligence and practicing for this tournament, they'll be very good.
Yes, I think a few Chelsea supporters would have been very pleased to see how tactically astute Conte can be, as shown in that first match against Belgium.
I think it's important that you know, teams, when they do have a lot of the ball, Belgium weren't so good at that, and I didn't think England were so good at that.
Martin Olsson for Sweden whips in across towards the near post. It takes a double deflection off two Italian defenders, and eventually they clear into midfield, and Hellstrom wins it back for the Swedes. And here's Olsson rolling it up the near touch line to Eksberg. In comes the cross towards Zlatan Ibrahimovic, but he's beaten to the ball in the air by Chiellini. We were marking your card actually in the build-up to this game that would be quite a bruising battle between Chiellini and Zlatan Ibrahimovic going in with his elbow onto the back of the neck of the Italian defender as they went for the high ball into the penalty area. And Ibrahimovic, I think, was prepared to do damage there to his former Juventus colleague, but Chiellini stood firm.
Love that. I mean, Chiellini, what an absolutely brilliant header that was. It was a foul, by the way, Ibrahimovic, but as we know, Ibrahimovic came out in his book and said he likes to treat Chiellini like a dog, so expect fireworks for the whole of that match.
Yes, I think he said he once treated him like a dog. I think they've calmed down a little bit. That was an argument which brewed in 2006 after Juventus were demoted from Serie A after those match-fixing allegations which were proven. Of course, they were relegated, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic decided to move on to the arch-rivals Inter Milan when one or two of his Juve colleagues, including Chiellini at the time, thought he should have stayed and helped out.
By the evidence of that last challenge, I would say the argument is still going and it's still bubbling.
Yes, they have long memories, some footballers, no doubt about that. Here on the far side is Chiellini with the ball with the outside of the boot, which again goes straight into touch. The Italians, well, they were lauded by many for the quality of their long-range passing against Belgium, but the first two efforts to play the ball wide and forward have gone straight into touch.
I've always thought it's easy, for me, in my opinion, it's easier to stop than to create. And I think in that first game against Belgium, they were just stopping Belgium playing and defending well, organised, staying compact and staying disciplined. In this game, I feel they may have to get on the front foot a lot more, and then we have to see what quality they've got when they're asked to do that, when Sweden are organised as they are.
Well, here they are on the far side with a cross from Florenzi, and it's overhit by the Roma man who's come into the team, and he apologises. He started down the left-hand side, and Candreva on the right-hand side as the full-backs in this Italian formation. 0-0 on 5 Live from the BBC. We played for 4 minutes in the first half of this match being played in Toulouse. Italy 0, Sweden 0. It is the Republic of Ireland group, of course, though they don't play their second match until this time tomorrow when it's Ireland against Belgium, which you can hear, of course, here on 5 Live. A very busy weekend of sports coming up, including the Rugby Union, the second test for England in Melbourne tomorrow morning. Here 0-0, and the sun is back out again, having popped behind a cloud. What do you think is the results that the Irish would prefer here, Trevor?
I feel the way that the first round of games went in Group E, I feel Ireland will probably be better off letting Italy run away with the top spot and hope that Italy get the win now.
And keep it tight for second and third.
Absolutely.
So free kick for Sweden. It's been awarded about 30 yards out. Källström is going to leave it to Seb Larsson of Sunderland, and it's going to be struck in, I think, right-footed by the Sunderland man. No, he's the decoy. It's low in from Källström. Larsson should have taken it because it's a shocking one, low straight at the blue wall of the Italian defence, and they sky it out of play for a throw-in on the far side for Sweden. It does look warm, and the throw-in is going to be taken by Victor Lindelof, playing slightly out of position at right back because of the reshuffle enforced by the injury to the Celtic fullback Lustig, who's out with a groin injury. So the Swedish coach Erik Hamrén was forced into that change. Erik Johansson, something of an Ibrahimovic look-alike, plays at number 3 in the centre-back position for Sweden in this game. Long defensive throw by Italy up the far touchline. Here they come down the far flank. It's a good run by Florenzi. Chance to cross into the middle. Headed away well there by Olsen, who was round covering his centre-backs to get it away for Sweden. But Italy again building on the far side. Here's De Rossi, another one with over 100 caps for his country. And now Bonucci to the near side to Candreva. Candreva curls one in. First bounce into the gloves of goalkeeper Andreas Isaksson.
Brilliant play from the Italians, breaking down the left-hand side. Good quality cross, and that's what you need from your full-back for the Swedes. Covering across, Olsen leaving his berth for the left-back position, coming across and clearing that ball to where it was a very dangerous position that the Italians put the cross into. Great play.
Well, the goalkeepers between them in this match have got over 280 caps in international football. Buffon age 38, Isaksson age 34. Not as old as Gabor Kirai, of course, who we saw the other day. But huge experience. And Isaacson, I think, is going to call it a day internationally at the end of this tournament. Buffon will go on forever, I suspect.
Well, he still looks in great nick, and he's still, obviously, with that national anthem, the way he was belting that out, looks like he's got all the passion he needs to continue. Isaacson I played with at Manchester City.
Oh, yes.
He didn't play many games, but he was there, and yeah, he's had an incredible international career. Congratulations.
Yeah, Isaacson is actually playing in his 6th international tournament. Buffon is playing his 30th match, would you believe, in the finals of either the World Cup or the Euros.
Amazing achievement, you know, to keep on doing it, staying at the top of his game for such a long time, coming on for 20 years. Incredible achievement, and it just shows, you know, if you look after yourself, you're a bit fortunate with injuries, you can keep on going if you've got that passion and if you've got that drive to keep on going and improving yourself.
That's the voice of Trevor Sinclair, who played, of course, in the World Cup for England back in 2002. We played for 8 minutes into lose. It is 0-0 between Italy and Sweden, the latest match in Group E. 2 more live matches for you later on 5 Live, the Czech Republic against Croatia, and then Spain, the defending champions, against Turkey. Both of those covered in full, of course. Italy 4 years ago, they made it all the way to the final. They were the runners-up 4 years ago.
It just shows how you can, you know, players retire, lack of form, injuries, and you know, you're down to bare bones. And a lot of players, I mean, 4 of the players that played against Belgium were relegated in 2012, and that's why Conte was coming under so much pressure. Why are you putting these players in the team? But obviously he knows the players, he trusts them, they all produce for him, and you know, the Gazzetta dello Sport had the words "Dream, Italy, dream" after that first match, so let's see if they can back that up.
Yeah, they can be an emotional nation, the Italians. The glass is either fully full or completely empty.
Well,
there's no in between.
2006, I'm sure it was fully full, because that was an outstanding achievement for the Italians.
Yeah, 10 years ago they were the world champions, of course, in Germany. They've got possession of the ball inside their own half. It's played to Ozali down the near side, the Juventus man, and then it's tucked infield by Italy into the heart of the Swedish defence. There was half a shout for handball, but Italy get on with the game with Pella. Pella with a ball to the left edge of the penalty area. The shot from Florenzi is straight at the goalkeeper, Isaacson. Florenzi getting forward, as we anticipated, down the left-hand side. He was unable to properly shrug off the tackles coming in, and it was straight at the goalkeeper. Yeah,
but great trigger points, because he was in the left-back role to start with, and as soon as that ball broke and they knew that they had good possession in the middle of the park, he broke down the left, and he's unmarked, obviously. He gets into that space. The shot was poor, but that's a real danger sign for Sweden. They have to be aware of that.
Italy 0, Sweden 0. Italy, they tell us, are traditionally slow starters in tournaments, but I seem to remember in the last World Cup they played England in Manaus in the opening game, and they beat England by 2 goals to 1. I'm sure you remember, Trevor. And yet the Italians, despite winning that first game, like England, did not escape the group.
Yeah, it was a bad memory. You know, England didn't play well at all that day, and to get beat 2-0, it was a bad start to the tournament for us. But like you say, both teams went out in the heats, and it wasn't a good tournament for either country.
Here's Buffon side-footing the ball to Chiellini. Chiellini to Bonucci, who sprayed that fabulous ball for the goal by Giaccherini, the opener against Belgium, which sparked those wild celebrations because it was so unexpected. Chiellini's over the halfway line, tries to usher it forward to Florenzi, but it's tidied up by Seb Larsson for Sweden, though the last deflection of the ball came off him, so it will be a throw-in to the Azzurri over on the far side, and Chiellini is going to take it himself. He hurls it back into his own half, and Bonucci to Zagli.
I think the opening section of this game, you know, a lot of games will become physical, and what you have to do is first you have to match the opposition for that physicality, and then you can go on and let your football do the talking. I feel like Italy look like they've got more of a battle in them, and Sweden don't seem to be matching for that, and if that continues, Italy will have a lot of the ball and will have a lot of chances.
Yeah, they've had plenty of the ball so far. They strike it long, looking for the run of Parolo through the middle, but it's hooked away by Sweden, and the flag was up for offside as well. The Swedes actually officially did not have a single shot on target against the Republic of Ireland. They drew the game 1-1, of course, due to the own goal by Kieran Clark. It was the build-up to that play and that goal which allowed us to see Ibrahimovic at his best.
Yeah.
But do you think he's got the mobility now at the age of, 34, to unsettle these craggy Juve defenders?
Listen, I think in that Paris Saint-Germain team, you've got a lot of world-class players around him, giving him the supply, giving him the opportunities. I'm not sure it's going to be that often with this Swedish team. No disrespect, but they're not going to dominate this tournament. So I think he needs to do a bit more himself, and whether he can do that or not at 34, well, we'll soon see. But what I will say is, you look at the Swedish team and they are organised. They're not getting impatient and they're staying nice and compact, so that's a good thing still to concede.
Yes, Italy 0, Sweden 0. 12.5 minutes played on 5 Live from the BBC. Don't forget there's coverage of Queens with Andy Murray in quarter-final action, and also Royal Ascot over on 5 Live Sports Extra as we speak.
Hope they get the weather.
The weather's good in Toulouse, and it's Olsen who's going to take the throw for Sweden. Level with the Italian penalty area on the near side, one of the smaller venues this at Euro 2016. The throw-in is taken to Hellström. He's run out of space on the near side, but it will be another throw for Sweden. Ibrahimovic onto the ball, just about. It's half cleared. Guidetti strikes from the edge of the penalty area. That was an air shot. He gets another opportunity, and now the whistle has been blown for a foul, I think, by Ibrahimovic before the strike at goal comes in from Emil Forsberg. It was saved anyway by Buffon, but the whistle had long since been sounded by the referee from Hungary, and it was Ibrahimovic a little over the top with that challenge inside the penalty area on Andrea Barzagli, and he's left a mark now on a couple of the defenders, and I think they might have made a mental note.
No love lost between Ibrahimovic and the Italian back three. Victor Kasai, the referee, big call. I think he got it right. It was something that in my junior time I used to do as a footballer. When somebody's about to kick the ball, you put your leg there, make him kick you instead. It's a clear foul, and well done to the referee.
Yes, he was spot on with that. Zlatan's trick did not pay off, and the ball is back with Isaksson in the goal for Sweden. He plays it short to Granqvist, former Wigan Athletic player. Andreas Granqvist now plays in Russia with Krasnodar, and Hellström to Olsen for Sweden. Long ball, rangy ball, looking for Guidetti to chase, but it's worked back to his goalkeeper by Chiellini, and Buffon clears. It's not the most deep of clearances by the goalkeeper, and Sweden are onto the loose ball with Ekdal out to the far side, on by Lindelof to Seb Larsson. Larsson only a few yards away from the corner flag, tried to play it back to Lindelof, who was supporting on the right hand side. He overhit the pass. Lindelof could not keep it in play, and it's out for a defensive throw for Italy. Still 0-0.
Yeah, good play from Sweden. I think Guidetti over the top there, that's something that they should look at, because he looks like he's got the pace. Good play in the end by Barzagli. He got the ball back to Buffon, made that angle immediately to give him an option. He didn't use it, but it's great to see defenders pass it back to the goalkeeper and give him that urgent angle, so he's got to pass on.
Here's Candreva inside his own half for Italy. Squares it to De Rossi. De Rossi, the Roma player, and it's helped on into the penalty area, but straight through to Isaksson. De Rossi, a mainstay of the midfield for Italy, but they are missing the likes of Verratti and Marchisio with injuries, and they've got nobody like Baggio, Pirlo, Del Piero, Totti, even Vieri up front.
Absolutely, but these are the tournaments that you can make them kind of names for yourself. I'm not sure who it's going to be. We all know about Pella. He scored a lot of goals in the Premier League. I'm sure he'll be looking to improve and enhance his name. But listen, this is the tournament. This is the place where people, dreams come true and they make a name for themselves. Let's see who it's going to be.
Rossi and Schillaci in the past for Italy have done exactly that. It's Italy 0, Sweden 0, 16 minutes played in Toulouse. Sweden in their 5th consecutive European Championship finals. It was a bit of a struggle, though, to make it to France. They had to come through the two-legged Scandinavian playoff against Denmark, but they negotiated that, and here they are, and they have possession with Forsberg. Forsberg will lay it back to Hellström in the heart of the Italian half of the field, to Ibrahimovic, who's come deep to collect possession, gets it back from Forsberg. Here he comes, dams it forward into the penalty area, but 7 blue shirts behind the ball. half cleared, straight back to Ibrahimovic. Not a sensible thing to do. Now it's Hellstrom with the ball in towards the far post, but Buffon read it very well. It was an imaginative ball in there from Hellstrom, but Buffon, the wily old fox in the goal for Italy, was able to read it perfectly.
Oh, it's absolutely wonderful when you see Ibrahimovic. He switches to turbo mode. As soon as the ball gets to his feet, he comes alive, and his feet are sensational. You know, last minute little movements to the ball, fantastic to see.
Here's Olsen raiding down the left-hand side now for Sweden, and he whips in a cross-come shot towards the near post, and Buffon was uncomfortable for a moment, and the referee has decided, I think, that it's going to be a goal kick. There was just half a suggestion that Buffon had flicked it over the bar with his glove there. Olsen was coming forward at some pace, smashed it across. I think it was supposed to be a cross, and it missed the top of the bar by about 9 inches.
Yeah, good positive play from Olsen down the left. I think he's got good pace, and he needs to try and utilise that down the left-hand side. He just needs to do a little bit better quality with a cross or shot. Either keep it under the bar or put it into that 6-yard box so Buffon can't come and collect.
Unofficial drinks break for Antonio Candreva. And the conditions warming up in Toulouse. It remains Italy 0, Sweden 0. Italy top of the table after their victory over Belgium on 3 points, Belgium on 0, and Belgium play the Irish tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
I think it's really important that Sweden don't concede. They've only won 3 out of the last 15 games, drawn 5 and lost 7. And if they are to concede, especially the way Italy played against Belgium, I feel that a few heads could go down, and this could be quite a comfortable afternoon for Italy.
Well, Sweden have been more promising in the last few minutes. Yet to strike one on goal, though, despite a couple of teasing crosses in the last few moments. They need to win the ball in midfield, Sweden, but they've lost it, and the shot will come in, and it takes a deflection. The shot from Eder, the ball ricochets out to the near side. Candreva digs it in towards the far post. Isaacson palms it away. The goalkeeper gets it as far as the touchline on the far side. Wonderful turn by Florenzi along the dead ball line before eventually he's challenged, and the ball is whacked out of play by Johansson, and that's out for a throw-in for Italy. But wonderful quick-witted movement of the feet there by Florenzi to get the ball beyond the defender over on the far touchline and pose a problem.
Yeah, good cross, excellent punch by Isaacson, and then a great bit of disguised Johan Cruyff from Florenzi. Unlucky not to get away with that.
The Swedes heading the ball amongst themselves inside their own penalty area. Clever if you can do that. I don't think it was intentional, but they do eventually clear deep into Italian territory, and the ball is back with Buffon again, who has to scurry a little bit for the edge of his penalty area, just on the curve of the D as he plays it away to one of his defenders. And now there's a lovely through ball to Pella. Pella tries to help it on into the box, and he stumbled over his own feet as he tried to prod it forward, and you can see by the rueful look on his face that was not what he intended. Straight through to the Swedish goalkeeper.
Beautiful disguised pass, great pace of pass as well by De Rosa into Pella. He just couldn't sort his feet at all. That was a very promising situation for Italy.
Ibrahimovic switches play to the far side, and Lindelof for Sweden. Ranquist to Hellstrom, who played those 4 games for Arsenal after that rather strange transfer to the Emirates. Wasn't totally his fault that he had an injury during that spell, but the signing, in the eyes of a lot of Arsenal supporters, symbolised lack of ambition at the time. But Hellstrom is a player who's had a long, illustrious career, used to play in France with Lyon. And now here, down the far side, come the Swedes. It's a great run towards the dead ball line. In comes the cross, it's blocked. It's going to be a corner. And the run from Ekdal was quite promising. Ibrahimovic was expectant in the middle. Didn't quite get the cross as Chiellini made the block, but it will be a corner for Sweden.
Outstanding defending again, Chiellini. You know, so impressive him. Whether it's aerially in the air, he reads the ball, he gets the flight of the ball well, and even on the ground there, he's probably not as quick as the player there who's up against, but he stayed on his feet, bided his time, and when he was able to get that challenge in, he made the block. Fantastic defending.
So corner for Sweden. Should be an in-swinger from that far side with a score at 0-0. It's going to be taken by Hellstrom. In it comes towards the near post area, easily headed away by the defender. Barzali it was, getting it away this time, out for a throw for Sweden. on the far sides. You can see a mixture of replica blue and yellow shirts in the stand there over on the far side. The two sets of supporters intermingling and behaving impeccably as far as we can see, as Källström lines up a longish throw into the penalty area. It's rather poorly cleared by Italy to the far side before it's hooked over his shoulder and out for a throw-in by the man who was helping out at the back, Eder, the Inter Milan striker, but he does get back when necessary, the Brazilian-born player. Throw for Källström. Again, arches his back, stretches, tries to get it deep into the penalty area, but Granqvist has been penalised for a little nudge there on the back of the Italian defender, and Italy can clear their lines from left to right with a free kick inside their own box.
And he got that foul against him. Wow, half a dozen to one. 6 of the other. What I will say is Sweden, you know, the way they get these set pieces, I think they've got to concentrate on the delivery. It's got to be the right quality, because I feel that could be their best chance of scoring this afternoon.
Italy 0, Sweden 0. 5 live from the BBC. A match being played in the rugby heartlands of France, down in Toulouse, the 4th biggest city in the host nation. And a massive Swedish invasion is very prominent over on the far side to our right. Virtually everyone bedecked in yellow, and the men in yellow holding their own at the moment against the Italians, who after their performance against Belgium were suddenly installed as clear favourites to win this game. Here's Martin Olsson keeping the ball in play for Sweden, into Ibrahimovic, who was a little bit lazy there with the pass. Too languid, gives it away, intercepted well by Italy in the blue and white, and it's back with Barzagli inside his own half. He rolls it to Bonucci, and Bonucci to Chiellini. On to De Rossi, who plays just in front of that back three. Well, he played an excellent ball a few moments ago, as described by Trevor, but he's a little bit inconsistent, De Rossi, which is why he's not one of the superstars of the game, despite over 100 caps, because that one goes straight out for a throw-in. Yeah, but you've got to compliment Sweden. The line's very narrow, very difficult to just thread a ball through that line, and it was very impossible. Well, it ended up being impossible because it was intercepted and the ball went out of play. But good play from Sweden, nice and compact, staying nice and disciplined, not panicking. I think it's really important, like I said earlier, that they keep a clean sheet and don't concede. And if the longer the game goes on, I think they'll go into this game. Sweden having to defend rapidly on the edge of their own penalty area. Now Granqvist, as he cleared it away, was caught a little bit late there by the follow-through from Graziano Pelle. And Granqvist doesn't look particularly enamoured with the challenge, though having seen the replay, Pelle was just standing his ground. Nothing in that. Granqvist is okay. And we're back underway with a ball from Johansson to Källström, and here is Johansson again at the heart of the midfield for Sweden. Just a little bit static for me, Sweden. I think they need to make some runs in behind just to stretch it out there, and they can get the ball in the midfield once the game's stretched. But at the moment it's all too easy for Italy to defend, and unless they get some runners running in behind unselfishly, even if they don't get the ball, it's going to be very difficult for them to break down this very, very disciplined Italian defence. Yes, a very sunny afternoon. We can see the shadow of the spider cam. It looks like there's a rabbit loose on the pitch at times. Here on the near side is Forsberg trying to battle his way deep into Italian terrain for Sweden, and he has been penalised for tugging back at the defender. The Hungarian referee runs over to the spot and awards the free kick defensively to Italy, with the score still 0-0 on 5 live. Yeah, good play from Candreva. Got his body in the way, and then he was just pushed over. I think defence is definitely both on top at the moment, and the chances are minimum. But it's, 26 minutes played. It hasn't exactly flown by, Trevor. No, but this could change, you know, a little bit of fatigue. You know, players start getting a bit lazy, switching off, concentration goes, and then the game can open up. Plus, you know, defences don't want to squeeze up. All of a sudden the game's stretched. Players with good ability, good skill set in the middle of the park can get on the ball and start dictating the play and having more authority in the game. Well, I shall guarantee a goal, Trevor, by saying that the only goalless draw so far was last night between Germany and Poland, so I'm sure it's impossible to have 2 in a row, though the Italians, I think, would be more than happy with a clean sheet and another point in the bank to move them up to 4, which would just about get them through. With their final match coming up against the Irish, this will be the last group to be decided in full next Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock kickoff for Ireland against Italy and Sweden's last match against Belgium. Now the Swedes have been awarded another free kick. It's a good 20 yards inside the Italian half. Hellström is over the ball, plays it in left-footed, deep towards Ibrahimovic, who stretches for the header, couldn't control it, maybe he was pushing as well. It's over the top of the bar. I think he's been penalised. He looks aghast at the referee, and it might have been offside actually as we watch the replay. The linesman did raise his flag, it was offside.
Yeah, brilliant. Again, I mean, Bonucci knows he can't beat Ibrahimovic in the air there, but he puts his body in the way and makes sure it's difficult for Ibrahimovic to hit the target. He wins the foul anyway, but great defending again, once again, from the Italians.
Yeah, the Italians know how to defend by fair means or foul. Doesn't really matter as long as the job is done. Here's Olsen back to Granqvist. Fair-headed, bearded figure. Plays it square to Johansson with the little ponytail, same as his captain. You'd have thought Ibrahimovic would have trademarked the look, but Johansson looks very similar. He's even got the little goatee beard.
He's inspired his teammates, I suppose.
On the far side, it's Hellström almost dropping back into his defensive line there for Sweden to make sure he's got the angle for the pass across field, and he strokes it neatly to Olsen, who was relegated with Norwich last season, of course. He plays a little 1-2, and in these bright conditions the ball is back with the brightly coloured Swedish defence, and they knock it out to the far side, and Lindelof, the youngster, the man from Benfica who won the Portuguese double last season at the age of 21, a rising star of the Swedish game is Lindelof, who can play anywhere across the back line, and he's at right back for this one. Here's the opposite full-back, Martin Olsen, in possession. Looks forward, not really an option, but he plays a good angled pass nonetheless to Ekdal. Ekdal coming forward down the near side for Sweden, needs a bit of support. Forsberg was available, but he switches back infield to Hellström, and a first-time ball without really looking finds Lindelof. Decent build-up play by Sweden. Lindelof with a 1-2, chance to cross from the right-hand side towards Guidetti at the near post, but it's volleyed away by Bonucci for Italy, and Sweden are repelled, but they won it back, winning the physical battle at times in midfield. The Swedes, long ball forward, overhit this time, straight through to Buffon, but they kept control of the ball. They were pinging it around quite nicely there with the Swedes.
Yep, Eric Cameron, the manager of Sweden, will be very happy with that. Possession, nice and patient, good quality on the ball, probing, and then when they got the chance, little 1-2 down the right, good cross into the box, dealt with by Italy, as you would imagine, but at least they're moving the ball about and keeping possession of the ball, which was great to see.
Here is Chiellini wearing the two-tone boots, and it's cleared away by Sweden from Chiellini's long thrusting ball forward, and out for a throw-in over on the far side. The clock tells us we've played for half an hour. Italy 0, Sweden 0. This match in Toulouse on 5 Live from the BBC. The first of our 3 live games this Friday, the second Friday of Euro 2016. I'm sure you'll have enjoyed the wall-to-wall coverage across the BBC of this European Championship. The biggest one ever, 24 teams. In the next few days, though, 8 teams will be packing their bags and going home. And as a Welshman, I was working it out that if Wales lose and England draw, Wales will be going home, even though they've won the opening game.
Wow. We don't want them results, though.
We don't, no. Glass is always empty.
Well, I have got a little bit of a soft spot for Wales from when I played for Cardiff, so you know, I would like to see them progress. I think they've done well. They've brought something to the competition, and it'd be very bad to see them go home.
And of course, as you told us the other day, your mum's from Sligo, so what result does she want regarding the Irish?
It's a difficult one, you know. I think the Irish did really well. Unlucky not to win that game. The chances they had and the dominance of the game against the Swedes, really pleasing to see. I'm sure Martin O'Neill would have been incredibly pleased with the performance, just the way they conceded and the way it was an own goal and late on in the game, but they've got a lot of positive to take from that game. I think it's all in their hands. They've just got to win the next game against Belgium.
And just in case you're thinking Ireland against Belgium must be today, because this match here, Italy-Sweden, is today then that's not the case. Republic of Ireland against Belgium is tomorrow, Saturday afternoon, with a 2 o'clock kickoff, and of course full commentary here on 5 Live. Italy 0, Sweden 0 at the moment. Italy heading to 4 points, Sweden on to 2, and going into that match tomorrow, the Irish would be on 1 and Belgium on 0. That's the picture at the moment. One or two of the groups becoming a little bit more clear-cut, but most of them still wide open. The French, though, through, of course, with 2 wins out of 2, and the Italians are aiming to join them with 2 wins out of 2 if they possibly can. There's one of those long balls from Italy again, which are normally planted in a forward direction with a lot of thought from Bonucci, but this time Leonardo Bonucci gets it all wrong, and it's straight through to goalkeeper Isaacson, and the Swedes are happy to drop back and cope with that.
Yeah, they're really compact. I think they've gone into this game. They've kind of worked out what they want to do with this 3-4-3 formation of the Italians, and they're a lot more comfortable now. They look better in possession, a few more forward runs, and they're creating 1 or 2 situations which, as the game goes on, could develop well.
Well, the Swedes have had more of the ball. They've produced more passes, but as we know, the Italians like to counter-attack. Can they draw the Swedes out a little bit more? Here's De Rossi. De Rossi plays it into Giaccherini, who we've hardly seen in the game so far. The ball is spread out to the far side, and Florenzi into the penalty area for Italy. It bounces away from Pella. It wasn't the best of balls forward again, and it's straight through to Isaacson in the Swedish goal, and he will take his time. And the Italians haven't clicked in forward areas at all. They've sent the 2 wing-backs forward as we anticipated. They've whipped in a couple of decent crosses, but generally speaking, it's been fairly comfortable for the Swedish back line.
Yes, and you have to give compliments again to the Swedish back line. They're compact, they're communicating really well, and they're getting that shield, you know. Ekdal and Hallström are in there, giving them that nice little shield, so it's not easy.
Another horrible ball forward, this time by Pella for Italy. That's given away again, and it has prompted Antonio Conte, the soon-to-be Chelsea head coach, to get out of his dugout and prowl on the touchline in his dark suit. He's brooding. He's not happy with this Italian performance. So far, they haven't followed on from the other night in Lyon. It remains 0-0 in Toulouse against the Swedes.
I thought it would be like this, Ian. You know, Italy would be expected to go and take this game and attack Sweden, and it's a different proposition to create rather than to stop, and they seem to be struggling a little bit up to now in this game.
Yeah, Conte did not look happy. Exactly when he'll be concentrating his mind on Chelsea, of course, depends on how far the Italians go in this tournament, and he wants them to go all the way.
I'm sure what he's going to be saying to the players if it stays like this until half-time is, listen, we need to be more patient, we need to sharpen up the passing in and around the final third, try little 1-2s, nice individual skill, and just sharpen it all up, but be patient, which is the main thing.
Here comes Sweden again. Martin Olsson, low ball into the middle, blocked by Barzali, and he gets it away to the near side. But there was a foul on Kandreva, which the Swedes did not agree with. And Martin Olsson has spoken out of turn there, an act of dissent from the Norwich City fullback. And the referee is having a word with him. There was the tiniest of little tugs on Kandreva's shirt, and you can see Olsson's point of view there, that was minimal contact, but the free kick was given to the Italians, and that tends to happen, doesn't it, Trevor, to a winger? Minimal contact on the fullback, and they get the free kick. Yeah,
I don't think that was a free kick, and it wasn't just Olsson's press. There was 2 or 3 other Swedish players around him that had all gone hunting together to win the ball back, and I think they succeeded in doing that, and it was cheap by Kandreva going down, looking for the foul. The referee bought it, and it's just frustration from all the Swedish players.
And again, the link-up between Pella and Eder up front for Italy falls down totally. They've not been able to construct anything at all, the pairing there, the man from Inter Milan and the man who plays for Southampton. Pella was a slight doubt with a foot problem and a dislocated finger coming into this game, but he seems to be okay. He's just not playing very well.
Listen, he thrives off crosses into the box. He's fantastic in the air, and I'm sure if Italy can get the ball wide and get some good quality into that box, he'll be there to finish it. But his link-up play needs to be better, because it needs to give the Italian players chance to catch up and support him.
And once again, the Swedes are unhappy with the award of a free kick for Italy. It was Seb Larsson this time on Giaccherini. Two Sunderland players together, actually. Giaccherini's still on the books at the Stadium of Light. And Giaccherini went tumbling far too easily, but the Swedes have managed to avoid any disruption from the Italian free kick because they've won the ball back. And here's Hellström. Hellström across his back line to Johansson. And now here is Ekdal to the far side, and Linderoth. 0-0 and 8 minutes remaining in the first half in sunny Toulouse. You're listening to the Match on 5 Live from the BBC. Granqvist will give it square to Johansson, just his side of the centre circle, arcs a ball down the far right-hand side, and this time the Swedish player goes over easily. Seb Larsson flops to the floor and says, if you're giving them free kicks for nothing, why can't I have a free kick for nothing?
That's exactly what he's asking, and basically he's got every right. There's a push in the back there. For me, that's a clear foul, but there's no consistency from the referee at the moment. He seems to be favouritism to the Italians.
To Italy, yeah. I think Larsson exaggerated the fall so much that the referee felt, he's looking for this, I'm not going to give it. The Swedes mustn't get frustrated. That would play certainly into Italian hands if that was to happen and they were to lose their composure. It's the Italians, though, who've lost the ball again sloppily inside their own half. Here's Forsberg. Forsberg back to Ibrahimovic, who's been pretty deep at times, looking to get involved in the game. He's got the ball once more, and not a good pass. Easily clipped away by Italy. Pelle's giving chase up at the other end, but neat interchange between Johansson and Granqvist, and Sweden are able to clear up the near touchline, and indeed they earn the throw-in as well via a deflection off Eder, and no doubt Eric Hamren will be the more satisfied of the two managers. He's taken off his jacket, actually. You can see his waistcoat. Very neatly attired he is. Hamren, who's been in charge of Sweden since 2009.
Italy was his first game.
Italy was his first game, correct. And what was the result?
2-2.
1-0 to Italy. Chiellini scored it. 2009. And they haven't played each other since then, 2009.
Ibrahimovic has been very quiet and he's given the ball away 2 or 3 times. It'll be interesting to see what happens after half-time.
Cross into the penalty area from Italy, hooked away by Johansson. He did ever so well, facing towards his own goal, but somehow the Copenhagen defender managed to hook the ball away over his shoulder and out of danger. 6'3" is. He had to apply himself there to get a big foot onto that one to clear. Long ball by Sweden this time. Chested down to Gigetti outside of the penalty area, off his right foot. Horribly off target. Goal kick for Italy.
Right on cue. You know, you start doubting the man, Ibrahimovic, and then a little bit of crazy feet, gets it out of his feet and plays a fantastic ball into the forward, lays it off, and I mean, you'd expect better technique from this man. You know, he has got it in the locker, but he just wildly plays the ball high and wide.
Yeah, that is Giudetti you're talking about. Scored his first international goal for Sweden in the warm-up victory over Wales, the last match they played before coming to France. Still 0-0 here, 5 minutes left in the first half. Italy 0, Sweden 0 on 5 Live from the BBC. Ibrahimovic is right on the halfway line. He wants to be involved. He doesn't always look as though he's fully applying himself, and all of a sudden he produces that little bit of magic, which I think has been mainly the story of his career, even when he was younger.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this Swedish team. They're growing in confidence. They're putting more men forward. They're looking to
they're a better team by a distance.
They are, but they're looking to probe in behind now. So they're stretching the Italian back four, and it's starting to work. And if anyone's going to score, you would imagine it's going to be Sweden at the moment.
Possibly they need something to fall for. Ibrahimovic inside the penalty area. He can be a startling finisher. The Italians found that to their cost in Euro 2004, of course, and he once scored 4 in a match against England. The ball's on the far side with Sweden. Hellström inside the Italian half, pushes it forward towards Ibrahimovic. Will it drop for him? It's just behind him slightly, and it's cleared away by Chiellini for a corner for Sweden. He couldn't quite swivel onto that one, Ibrahimovic. It was almost that kind of situation where he turns and slams it athletically into the back of the net. He tried one little touch, and that was enough for the defender to get in there and clear it away.
Yeah, really searching ball there into just on the edge of the 6-yard box, but again, fantastically disciplined defending from the Italians.
Hellström with another in-swinging corner then for Sweden from the far side with a score at 0-0. In it comes high towards the far post. Ibrahimovic was stretching for that one. I think it was just too strong. He's tall and strong himself, but he couldn't really engage with that one. It was overhit by, well, a couple of ounces really, and that was enough to deny the big man the scoring opportunity at the far post. It is off his head eventually, but it scrapes away for a goal kick.
Yeah, again, Chiellini, I think that's the perfect area where the ball needs to go. I think that's come from the training ground. The movement from Ibrahimovic was near and then come far, but he was held up, and he couldn't quite get on the end of the ball. Good defending once again.
Barzali with a long ball forward for Italy, looking for Eder, headed away by Granqvist. Back in by Candreva, but the Italians just can't settle on the ball inside the Swedish half. No sustained pressure at all from them, and Florenzi has lost the ball over on the far side. He was given a difficult pass to control. He couldn't keep the ball, and it's back with Hellström. Hellström's had a very strong first half in the heart of the midfield for Sweden, pulling the strings in there and outplaying the Italian midfielders. Parolo of Lazio, we've hardly seen him, and De Rossi too, very quiet in there, and they're mainly shielding the back three of Italy.
Look how deep Ibrahimovic is coming for the ball. He's getting no change up there, so he's coming into these midfield areas just between the two lines so he can get a touch of the ball. Again, big compliment to the Italian defence, doing a great job on him.
Here's Granqvist to Olsen. It is a match where the defending has been good and chances have been at a minimum, but those few that have emerged have largely come the way of Sweden. Although Buffon hasn't yet fully been tested, and it could be true that Sweden are still to have a shot on target in the tournament. Here is Seb Larsson over on the far side. Ekdal wants the ball short, gets it on his right foot, dark-haired figure, plays it up the far touchline to Larsson, who whips in a high cross, and it's behind the goal and behind the net for a goal kick. He had to hit it on the run and hope for the best.
Yeah, good idea. Just a little bit earlier on in that move, Olsen come inside, and again Ibrahimovic went into that midfield area to try and receive the ball. It was outwitted because he got an Italian defender blocking that, and he went for a second phase to get it on a different angle, and Olsen just didn't have the guile to put that in. But if he had the guile to put that in, Ibrahimovic would have been in a great position running at the back four.
Yeah, the Swedes bossing possession about 60 to 40 in the first half in Toulouse. They've created the bulk of the half chances, or quarter chances shall we say. Nothing too clear cut. There was that header over the bar from Ibrahimovic, but he was offside, and then there was the cross come shot from Olsen, which was just over the top of the bar, and the referee has determined there will be no stoppage time at the end of the first half. So it's Italy 0, Sweden 0, cagey, cautious, Italy below par, but not at the moment unduly concerned. No,
and we just talked about the possession just at the end of that half, and 60-40 in favour of the Swedes. I think this might be playing into the hands of the Italians, because the more deep they get, the more defensive they get, I think they become a better team. The early part of the game they had more possession and they looked lost. They didn't look like they had the creativity in the final third. As the game's got on, they become deeper and deeper, and they might spring that sucker punch.
Yes, it's been cat and mouse in the first half, and at half-time it's cat nil, mouse nil. Yes, thank you very much, Caroline. The first half of this one felt like 12 hours of sport, it must be said. 0-0 at half-time, but 10 of the matches so far have been 0-0 at half-time in the European Championship this summer, Trevor, and only one match has finished 0-0, and we're clutching to that straw.
Yes, we're going to go with the average and hope we get at least one goal in the second half. But it's an intriguing game, you know, it's not been dull. I was just looking at the players coming out, and it looked like the Swedish players needed an ice towel around them at half-time, and it looks like they've had that. It'd be interesting to see whether the Italians and possibly their familiarity with the weather and the heat will serve them well in the second half.
Yes, looking at the shadows on the pitch, the sun is very high in the sky, and they are blessed with gorgeous weather in the southwest of France, in Toulouse. Italy 0, Sweden 0, as we get underway in the second 45 minutes here, with Italy in this second half playing from right to left with a ball up the near touchline towards Giaccherini, who's not been in the game at all, and then it's cleared away rather messily by Johansson at the back four as Sweden for a throw-in for Italy. Italy playing from left to right in their blue shirts, white shorts, blue socks, and Sweden in their traditional yellow and blue. Throw-in taken by Chiellini into the penalty area. Pella tries to lay it off. Was he just inside the box there, Pelle?
He had a touch inside
was that
the
a
box.
touch inside the penalty area for the Italian number 9?
He must have heard us. He's had a touch inside the box in the first minute of the second half, so he's improved already.
Another throw for Italy. Chiellini long into the penalty area. That was hopeless. First bounce show to goalkeeper Andreas Isaksson, the 34-year-old, 6'6", commanding presence in the Swedish goal, though neither goalkeeper, he nor Buffon, has been extended so far in this match. In Toulouse, 0-0. An absolute sea of yellow over on the far side. The Swedish supporters, every man, woman and child wearing a replica shirt. Sweden, who drew their opening match, remember, against the Republic of Ireland, that was 1-1.
Very lucky.
Very lucky, yeah. Kieran Clark own goal, rescuing a point there for Sweden. The Italians much more impressive, beating Belgium by 2-0. Haven't really built on that, but I'm sure there's more to come from them in the second half here. Can they draw Sweden forward and catch them with one of those accurate sprayed long balls or a counter punch? The ball is back with Buffon in the Italian goal. Now one of the Swedish players is down off the ball. A couple of the Italians are standing above him applauding slightly sarcastically. Chiellini is leaning over him, suggesting that there might have been a bit of a dive. It's not Ibrahimovic, he's still on his feet, I can report, but Sweden have a minor problem. It was something off the ball, we'll watch it now. Chiellini just ran straight into his man. Was it shoulder to shoulder? It was a clear obstruction and a foul off the ball.
I think he's applying the dark arts. He's pleading innocence, Chiellini, but he's obviously seen the run of Guidetti, and he's just
completely blocked him out.
He's come across, blocked him out. Not an elbow, but a shoulder, which can be quite painful if taken on the chin, and Guidetti felt that with all its force. And it's one of them, you know, you're a young lad, you'll get used to that. Don't try that again.
It was an American football block, really, that there by the experienced Italian, one of the Fab Four from Juve, the Fab Four from Turin at the back for Italy, when you include the goalkeeper Buffon, and then the three centre-backs. Buffon in goal, the centre-backs, Barzagli, Bonucci and Chiellini. Here come Italy to the edge of the area. Pella with a shot over the top of the bar from an angle on the right-hand side. It's sat up for him to strike it right-footed, but it was always rising. But he's now touched the ball in the box twice. Yeah,
good play again. Parolo, good ball down the side. I feel like it was a decent effort. He didn't hit the target, but I feel if Pella would have gone inside the box a little bit more before checking his run and pulling back for the pullback, he may have given himself a bit more time. He seemed to pull back out on the angle so soon. I think that kind of alerted the Swedish defenders to go and press him, and he had less time on the ball.
And the rest of the Italian lineup, with no substitutions having been made at half-time. Candreva and Florenzi are the wide men. De Rossi, Parolo, Giaccherini, and then Eder and Pella up front. Pella of Southampton, who scored the second goal against the Belgians. Now Sweden have played the ball back to their goalkeeper, and Johansson misplaced the pass. Isaksson tried to keep it in play, but it's gone behind for a corner for Italy. That was unnecessarily conceded by Sweden, and I wonder if the Italians from the set piece can make them pay.
You'd have to be as fast as Usain Bolt to keep that one in. Poor back pass.
Corner taken short. Florenzi with a cross in towards the far post, headed away by Granqvist. He had to stretch, he did well, flicks it away, out for another corner, this time over on the far side for Italy. So Italy more progressive in the opening 4 minutes of the second half than they were really in the entirety of the first half, but certainly helped by that stray back pass, and the pressure continues to be applied. Now here's no great surprise, the referee Viktor Kasai from Hungary is having to warn the players inside the penalty area about blocking and barging and pulling and pushing and tugging. Has that covered everything?
Pretty much. Biting.
Out-swinging corner, it's a low one in towards Eder, who couldn't quite control it, and it's scrambled away by Sweden for another corner. It was Parola who was trying to turn on a loose ball inside the box after a clever pullback from the corner. In comes the corner, claimed well by Isaacson, the goalkeeper, climbing through a crowd of players. Then he's fouled, and it's a free kick for Sweden.
Much to do about nothing. If Eder's first touch there from the corner was better, he would have had a clear goal-scoring opportunity, or at least a strike-at goal. His touch let him down, and it fizzled out in the end. But this has been a much better start from Italy. I feel Conte at the half-time interval has given them a right dressing down, because they weren't good enough in that first half. They played so well in that first game against Belgium, and they've been really poor, and actually let the Swedes get their confidence high and get on the front foot. So I'm sure they've had a dressing down, and this is the result of that.
Yes, they were described before that first match by some in the Italian media as the worst Italian team for 50 years.
That may have been mentioned.
And they regressed back into that kind of mode in the first half in this game.
Well, I think if you're a manager and you want to get a reaction from the players, sometimes you have to let them know what the press are saying. And, hopefully you get the right reaction, and possibly that's what's happened here.
I felt obliged to look up what happened to the Italian team 50 years ago. Of course, it was the World Cup in England, 1966. They actually played at Ayresome Park in Middlesbrough. In their group, did Italy, and they lost 1-0 to North Korea and went out of the tournament.
It's very cold up there. They wouldn't have been used to them cold conditions.
The ball is out for a throw on the near side. There is Antonio Conte, former Juventus midfield man, of course the captain of Juve and now the head coach of Italy. For the time being, he controlled the ball in his suit as it ran out for a throw-in, and we're back underway with, in the bright sunlight, Olsen on the far side for Sweden. He had a good game in the first half. The Norwich City fullback coming forward, he was allowed to roam forward at will almost by the Italians down the left-hand side and posed a few problems. Here now is Ekdal trying to push the ball into the penalty area for Sweden, but there is Chiellini to nudge it out of play. Sliding challenge and a throw-in for Italy.
I've been very impressed with
this. A throw for Sweden, I should say. Taken to Ibrahimovic and Ekdal scrambling on all fours, won back by Lindelof. Lindelof to the halfway line, and Gramquist needs support. He gets it from Källström, who I thought was the best player on the pitch in the first half, Kim Källström. Here now is Olsen down the far side again for Sweden, as advertised. He finds Forsberg with the ball into the penalty area, cleared away. It comes to Ekdal. Ekdal tried to play it back into the box first time. That ricochets away, but now it's Lindelof down the near side. Oh, an awful cross there by the Benfica man into the Swedish fans behind the goal. Ibrahimovic will be cursing under his breath in one of his many languages.
I'm not sure it'll be under his breath. He'll be fuming though. I mean, that was a great bit of play from Sweden. And I was going to say earlier, Lindelof, for me, was one of the best players in the first half. Won the Under-21 European Championship last year, surprisingly with Sweden, and has done very well in this match. I've been really impressed with his ability.
Here's Giaccherini for Italy, loose touch, uncharacteristic that there from Chiellini, and he has to stretch for his second touch and plant the ball out of play for a throw-in for Sweden. Advanced position on the near side. It's thrown back by Lindelof to Johansson. Granqvist to Johansson again and into midfield, and Ekdal's able to turn. It's a decent run by him. He chips it across the penalty area, and very finely judged there by Candreva for Italy, getting back from wing back to head it to goalkeeper Buffon.
Outstanding calmness there from the defender. Candreva has played very well as well, defended really well, just nice and cool, cushioned the head back to the safe hands of Buffon.
Long clearance downfield by the Italians. Pellè will pick it up. Decent running forward, tries to play it to the edge of the penalty area, gets another stab at it. Again, it's intercepted by the Swedes, who block it off twice, and now it's cleared away by Gramquist over the halfway line. Looking for Guidetti, who's okay after that collision with Chiellini right at the start of the second half. It remains 0-0. We've played for 10 minutes in the second period in this match being played in Toulouse, live on BBC 5 Live.
Good decision from the ref there. Candreva and Ibrahimovic went for a high ball. They both had high feet. No harm done. Play on. Good refereeing.
Florenzi on the near side for Italy, loses possession, but Chiellini will retrieve it for the men in blue. cleared away as far as Parolo. Parolo to the far side, and in comes the cross from the full-back who was overlapping, and it's straight through to goalkeeper Isaacson. Trevor.
Yeah, great play that. I mean, he got it out wide, good interplay in the middle of the park. Nice laid-off ball down the line for a first-time Candreva cross. He's gone near post. He expects his forwards, at least one of them, to get across that near post and give a chance to get on the end of it. No one made that near post run, and hence Isaacson come out and collected it. Nice easy take. That should have been one of the forwards getting in there, trying to make a menace of himself and get across that near post.
Italy through the centre circle, play it to the near side to Florenzi. Right-footed ball diagonally towards the edge of the Swedish penalty area, headed away by Gramquist. Pella is there though to nudge it out to the far side. Candreva now. Can he deliver the cross from the dangerous position on the far side for Italy into the near post, and the goalkeeper is there again.
Carbon copy.
Isaacson makes the save again.
Carbon copy. Exactly the same cross. I don't know why. No one's anticipating that from the Italian forwards. Again, Pella is pulling out the box. He's 6'2". Get yourself in the box where you can get yourself a goal. Being out on the edge of the box, that doesn't happen all the time. You need to earn that space by gambling, and then pulling out, and that surprise element. He's going the surprise element every time. It's too easy to read.
Who is that player, Carbon Copy? Is he a sub for Italy?
I meant it looked like an action replay.
Oh, right, OK. Throwing on the near side, Lindelof is going to take it for Sweden. Deep inside the Italian half. On the near side, which is the Swedish right in this second half, the match in Toulouse is still goalless. If you're fresh to our coverage on your way home on a Friday, and you've not missed too much so far. Ibrahimovic has applied a bit of muscle, sprayed one excellent through ball, but hasn't really fully discomfited the Italian back line with all of those craggy, experienced Juventus defenders back there and Buffon behind them. The Swedes edged the first half without creating too much themselves, and it is Italy 0, Sweden 0.
Bonucci's fuming with Guidetti there a little bit. I think that it's very similar to what happened earlier with Chiellini and Guidetti. It's one of them where two bodies come together, and if one of them falls over, no harm done.
If you dish it out, you've got to take it as well.
Come see.
Don't know him either. The ball is with Ibrahimovic inside the Italian half, but he's got his back to goal and he's battling for possession. Eventually he commits a foul. Ibrahimovic, did he go over the top there in that tackle? He's complaining about the way he was buffeted by the Italians, and I think this spares a look at on the replay. Ibrahimovic, little scrape down the shin there of Eder from Ibrahimovic. He's left his mark on a few players in this Italian team. There was one kind of half elbow on the back of the neck of Chiellini inside the opening minutes of the game as well, Trevor Sinclair.
He puts himself about. You can't point the finger and say he doesn't put himself about. He gets combative. He's a big man, and I think he's kind of saying, listen, when I've got the ball at my feet, I'm so strong, don't even try and get it. And he's muscling himself about very well. But that was over the top, that a little bit naughty.
Giaccherini for Italy spreads a pass out to the far side. Candreva will collect it and deliver a ball which takes a deflection, but it's into the penalty area anyway, and it could break here for Parolo in a wide position. He's overrun it. He couldn't control the ball. He was right on the dead ball line. Isaacson was rushing out to confront him. The goalkeeper was almost in no man's land, but the Italian midfield man could only nudge the ball inadvertently out of play for a goal kick for Sweden, and they survive. Yeah,
unfortunate for Parolo there. It's all frantic and explosive, and you're going through the paces, and then all of a sudden you've got to calm down and get that first touch right. He was still a little bit all over the place when he got to the ball, and hence he kicked it out of play. Unfortunate. Dangerous position as well for the Italians. It's a shame.
Well, Pella has gone off. You can see the strapping on his fingers, because he dislocated his finger in the last match, but I don't think he's been withdrawn for that reason. Graziano Pella, he had not been having a particularly good game, and now we see Simon Zaza coming off the bench for Italy to make his first appearance of the season. Very much a squad player, Zaza, with Italy and with Juventus. He started only 5 games in the Serie A last season. As we go back to Caroline Barker.
Yeah, just interrupting your commentary to bring you a significant bit of news ahead of Rio. BBC Sport understands that Russia will remain banned from international track and field competition by the IAAF. The decision means its athletes can't compete at this summer's Olympic Games in Rio. So Russia will remain banned from international track and field competition. We'll have more on that story at full time, but now back to Ian Brown and Italy-Sweden.
Yes, thank you, Caroline. Yes, lots of reaction to that big sports story throughout the rest of the day here on 5 Live. Here it remains Italy 0, Sweden 0. The match being played in Toulouse. Pella has been withdrawn by Antonio Conte, and Zaza is on, another Juventus player coming on. As I was saying, he was used sparingly by Juventus last season when they won the title for a 5th consecutive year, but he's in the middle now, expecting perhaps a ball which is dragged back instead to Giaccherini. Great challenge comes in on him from Källström. Kim Källström getting back so efficiently from midfield to make the challenge on the edge of the area and break things up, and the Swedes might be able to break. The supply line isn't good though, the ball is overhit. Larsson chases, and Larsson gives up the chase because it's behind for a goal kick for Italy. We played for over an hour now, 61 minutes gone, and that was magnificent by Källström to get back there. Giaccherini was about to pull the trigger. Problem was, the ball wasn't there. Outstanding
from Källström. That's what you want from your midfielder. Sensing danger, realising where the danger is and getting himself there to apply a tackle. He did that superbly well. The anticipation was great, and Giaccherini wasn't able to get the shot off. That was a very dangerous situation for the Italians, and Källström's done his team a great favour.
Looks as though he's suffered a little bit of a blow in the back as he made that tackle, Källström. He's grimacing a little bit, the former Arsenal man. But he's okay. Pella off then, Trevor.
Yeah, quiet afternoon. I feel first half he was very, very poor. He improved in the second half. He got a couple of touches in the opposition box, but still, for me, it was just a little bit labouring, and maybe his broken finger and the bits and bobs that he's got going on fitness-wise have just affected him that too much. So he's off, and it's a good opportunity for Zaza, who wasn't used so much last season for Juve, so he should be fresh for the Italians.
Yeah, can he bring some Zaza zoom to the match for Italy? It remains Italy 0, Sweden 0, and Ozilsson is going to take the goal kick for Sweden. He'll be striking the ball from left to right for the Swedes in the second half in the match in Toulouse, which is still goalless. Later tonight, 2 more commentaries for you on 5 Live, including Spain against Turkey, which kicks off at 8 o'clock. Another chance to see the defending champions. They'll be looking to book their place in the last 16 with a second consecutive victory. That was the target, I'm sure, for Italy, and still is, with a score 0-0, and they're improving in the second half. Florenzi down the left-hand side, chips it beyond the far post. There is somebody there to drag it back in from the angle. It was Candreva. Well, the 2 wing-backs there, as we see so often with the Italians, with the furthest men forward, the wing-back on the left with a cross, and the wing-back on the right meeting it, but the angle was too great for him to do anything with it.
Yeah, good play. I mean, it's very rare you see that Candreva the left wing back getting it over to Florenzi the right. But it was a nice little bit of play before that, back heel by Zaza in the middle of the field for the Italians, just to keep that play alive and to enable him to switch the ball and get it wide. So it's interesting to see that he started well, and let's see how he gets on.
Oh, lovely through ball for Ibrahimovic, but he's offside. The flag was up instantaneously, and the Paris Saint-Germain man was offside, and he actually has a little grin and a shake of the hand there with Chiellini. He was drawn into it by Chiellini. An act of friendship there. Ibrahimovic will be thinking, why on earth did I shake his hand?
Professional respect, I think, is probably as far as he'll go with that, not friendship.
Yeah, it has been in short supply over the years, respect between Ibrahimovic and 1 or 2 of these Italian players, and 1 or 2 players from all nationalities probably. Ibrahimovic, who could be plying his trade, if we're to believe everything, at Old Trafford under Jose Mourinho next season for Manchester United. Of course, he's worked for Mourinho and under Mourinho, or alongside Mourinho as he would put it, in the past.
Yeah, I mean, for me, you look at the player that's made a massive impact at Old Trafford this season, Marcus Rashford. I just feel it would halt his development curve. So for me, looking at the English players, I wouldn't like to see the Menga players off this season.
You could have put Ibrahimovic on the bench, I suppose. no, you couldn't.
I don't think he'd be too big for any bench, I think.
It's going to be a corner for Sweden. Now their attacks are becoming less frequent, it must be said, but they have got a corner on the near side, so an opportunity to threaten Buffon and his colleagues inside that Italian penalty area. Hellström has delivered a couple of dangerous balls in from these set pieces, and here is his latest attempt with another in-swinging corner off his left foot from the right-hand side. Ibrahimovic is in motion beyond the far post, does a little pirouette, it's towards him. Buffon is off his line though to punch it clear out to the far side, and Florenzi will keep it in play for Italy, plays it up to the halfway line. Olsen is there backtracking well for Sweden, and he hits it all of 40 yards back to goalkeeper Isaksson, who clears over the halfway line himself, right-footed. Headed up and away by Barzagli at the back for Italy, and then there's a crunching challenge on the halfway line coming in from Ekdal, which the referee took exception to, climbing over his man. Free kick against the Swede, free kick for Italy, already taken on the halfway line. And to the left of the centre circle, it is Chiellini, back to Bonucci, and Barzagli on the far side to De Rossi. Zaza runs over the ball, trying to play a dummy, but it's not bought. Granqvist will clear it over the halfway line along the turf for Sweden. And now it's forward by Guidetti towards Forsberg, but he's muscled off the ball fairly by the Italian defender. The referee was happy with that challenge, and it's Florenzi again for Italy, short to Giaccherini. Giaccherini, the smallest player on the pitch, who scored that superb goal against the Belgians. What a first touch, what a finish. One of the goals of the tournament so far. We could do with something like that now. We're into the final quarter of the game almost. It is still 0-0 between Italy and Sweden in Toulouse. This, of course, the Republic of Ireland match, or group rather, and they play their second match tomorrow against Belgium. Also a 2 o'clock kickoff on 5 Live. Ekdal for Sweden to the near side, and Lindelof back into his own half. And the Swedes with 1 point on the board. A draw here would take them to 2, and it would leave them with something to do in the final game against Belgium. The Swedes can't really afford to settle for a point.
No, they need to really go for this in the last 35 minutes. They're up against it. 2 points won't be good enough going into that Belgium game, because you'd say that's going to be a very difficult game for them also, depending on what happens with Ireland tomorrow. But I've seen a few runs in this second half by Zaza and Eder, and the Italians seem reluctant to play that ball over the top. I can't understand why, because that really would spread the Swedish defence out.
Barzagli over the halfway line, the Juve man heaves one forward, and that's perhaps the worst pass of the match so far. Straight behind for a goal kick. There was not an Italian player within 30 yards of that one. Conte is applauding above his head, but I think he was being ironic.
I think it was for the idea. I think he was looking to switch the ball.
What was the idea?
I think it was a switch to the opposite fullback, but I think in golfing terms we call that a shank.
Yeah, very wayward indeed, easy for Sweden, and they clear away from the goal kick. The ball is chested down by Johansson on the halfway line, and then De Rossi comes in right through the back of his opponent. Hellström is down, and De Rossi goes into the book. It's his first yellow card of the tournament. Bonucci and Chiellini and Eder, by the way, are all on a yellow card from the opening match. They were shown the yellow by Mark Clattenburg in that match against Belgium, and De Rossi deservedly cautioned.
Yeah, good sportsmanship by the pair of them though. Just a little shake of hands, a little pat on his head to say sorry. It's one of them as a midfielder, it's difficult not to go for that ball and try and stop the ball being hooked on into a dangerous position. You put your foot up and naturally you're showing your studs. Sometimes you catch the player, sometimes you don't. Hellström he caught there, so a yellow card it was.
Hellström chips it up to the edge of the Italian penalty area. The ball's loose inside the box until Buffon takes total control of the situation, off his line rapidly.
Starters blocks.
Yeah. The brain reacts quickly, so does the body, even at the age of 38. Gianluigi Buffon.
Great anticipation, he could sense the danger there, and he looked like he got off 100-metre starting blocks, because he was out like a flash.
Well, during the last Serie A season, Buffon set a new record for the Italian top league, 974 minutes of football without conceding a goal, which is just under 11 matches before you ask me that question, Trevor. Buffon with that record, and he's yet to concede in this tournament as well.
Great knowledge, yeah, and it's good to have an amount of games to the amount of minutes, just to, in layman terms, for people to understand.
Yes, the non-mathematicians amongst us.
That's me.
The ball is with Isaksson in the Sweden goal. It is still 0-0. A look at the watch tells us 20 minutes are remaining in this match in Toulouse, and the Swedish fans are in good voice. They've got their yellow and blue scarves stretched up above their heads and singing in unison. Here is Ibrahimovic trying to give them a little bit more joy, but he's beaten to the ball on the edge of the penalty area, and the Italians work it back again to their goalkeeper Buffon, and it remains goalless as De Rossi, the man just shown the yellow card, arcs a pass out to the far side. It's chested down by Candreva, and then Parolo gets a touch, and the Swedes are applauding themselves for the singing. There must be a whole nation of Ibrahimoviches.
They're trying to raise the boys and get them up for it, and hopefully inspire them into scoring a goal.
They're enjoying their day, that's the main thing. In Toulouse it's 0-0, and the ball is back with the former Manchester City keeper, as Trevor was telling us in the first half. Isaksson didn't really make a huge impact at the Etihad. Here's Forsberg coming forward for Sweden, wide to Guidetti. Can he supply a cross from the left-hand side? He needs support. It's there from the fullback, Olsen. Low one into the middle. Ibrahimovic has missed.
God.
Ibrahimovic has slammed the ball over the bar from 6 inches out. He was out the far post. He was unmarked. He looks to the linesman. The flag was not up, and Ibrahimovic has missed a golden opportunity. The legendary man has missed, and it will go down as a legendary miss.
He wants the offside flag to be up, because that is...
He's banging his head on the post.
That is an unbelievable miss. It's come at him quickly, but listen, he's a world-class player. He will be absolutely devastated with that miss.
Well, the flag did go up, but was it for a goal kick? Because he'd missed? Or was it offside? You saw it in slow motion. It was difficult to be totally certain.
I think it was sympathetically, because that was probably the miss of the Euros. Absolutely right there.
Well, we'll have to analyse it to see if he was offside, but even if he was offside, there's... Oh, at the other end here come Italy, Eder into the penalty area, and it bounces away off a Swedish defender for a corner this time for the Italians, which Grampus isn't very happy about. Yes, we'll analyse that later to see if Ibrahimovic was offside, but he wasn't to know that when he tried to put it in the net.
It was a fantastic cross from Olsen. You've been looking at a bit improving his quality in the first half. That was a superb cross. He was just offside in my opinion. But
Candreva with a corner into the middle towards Zaza. It's bouncing freely on the 6-yard line. Sweden have to clear. Sweden are aided by the Hungarian referee, who blows his whistle and gives them a relieving free kick. And the Italians now about to make a second change. Thiago Motta of Paris Saint-Germain, teammate latterly of Ibrahimovic, is going to come on for the Italians wearing number 10, and he comes on for the man who was booked, Daniel De Rossi. So Thiago Motta comes on to give the Italians 2 Brazilian-born players in their 11 out on the pitch. Both of them with Italian great-granddads, Eder and Thiago Motta. That's how they managed to qualify to play for Italy. And Thiago Motta, even though he played 2 competitive games for Brazil, not sure how he managed that. A little back heel from Forsberg on the edge of the Italian penalty area, but straight through to Gianluigi Buffon, who is 17 minutes away from another clean sheet, because it's still Italy 0, Sweden 0 in this match being played in Toulouse.
He has got fantastic dispersal as well. When you look at the way he gives the ball to the Italian players, Buffon, so calm. He'll split players, open with a pass out of his hands. Great to see.
And just a reminder of the breaking sporting news this afternoon. The IAAF have decided Russians will not be allowed to compete in track and field at the Rio Olympics. It comes across here for Italy from the far side, headed away well by Grampquist, who's had a very good game at the back for Sweden in this game, although the Italian attacking play has not been particularly good. Here's Bonucci. He'll square it to Barzali. The Italians half content with a point. We saw a match last night, Germany against Poland, where underneath it all they were both reasonably happy with a point, having both won their opening games. But of course in this group Sweden did not win their opening game, so surely they have to thrust forward a little bit more, but they're on the back foot at the moment. It's Florenzi for Italy. Thiago Motta to Giaccherini into the penalty area towards the dead ball line. In comes the cross, it's behind everyone in a blue shirt. It runs out to the far side. Kandreva with a shot, blocked by Granqvist and stabbed further upfield by the Swedes. Chiellini's underneath it for Italy, and he took a blow to the stomach there as he competed with Sebastian Larsson, and the ball has run out of play and Chiellini is crying out in pain.
He's winded
and asking for some treatment. Larsson went in elbow into the solar plexus area, really.
Nothing worse than that, Ian. You know, when you blow in anyway, you're really breathing heavily, and then someone wins you and stops you breathing completely. You feel like you're going to literally die on the pitch. It does quickly pass on from there, fortunately, but yeah, it's an incredibly bad feeling when it first happens.
It looked deliberate from Larsson to me, that actually.
Yeah, a bit uncharacteristic. He's not really a sinister player like that ordinarily, but
it always looks deliberate in slow motion, but I don't think we need to see it again to know it was deliberate. Larsson was looking for that, and the elbow into the lower part of the stomach, and here comes a double change by Erik Hamrén, the Swedish coach. Durmaz, who plays in Greece with Olympiakos, attacking midfield man wearing number 21, he is coming on, and Lewicki, the Malmo player, the midfielder who started the first game against the Republic of Ireland, he is coming on as well in the next few moments. Chiellini is still off the pitch. He's back up on his feet though, having taken that blow. He was definitely winded. He got a little bit of a massage as he was lying on the floor. I think he's breathing okay again, and he's waved back onto the pitch down beneath us. 77 minutes played. Italy 0, Sweden 0 on 5 Live from the BBC. Olsen defending for Sweden, drags it away straight into midfield to Eder, but he's dispossessed, and now the Swedes are coming up over the halfway line through the centre circle. Ibrahimovic can't reach the ball. Chiellini's got it instead for Italy, and just angles it back safely to Buffon, all in grey. The ball is with Italy deep inside their own half, out to the far side, and Kandreva. He gives it back to Thiago Motta. Motta the forward to Parolo. Now back into their own half. The Italians just happy to take a little bit of the sting out of the game. Redraw breath collectively, I think, after that stoppage. We're yet to see the changes, by the way, from Sweden. The two substitutes still waiting on the touchline. Chiellini comes forward. The man with the different coloured boots, tall, angular figure, so fit. And that's a dreadful ball forward again from one of the centre-backs for Italy. It's part of their game, the long raked forward balls from the centre-backs, but they've been totally off-key in this game. Emil Forsberg is the first player to give way for Sweden. Durmaz comes on for him. And in a moment we'll also see Lewicki coming on. Durmaz, heavily bearded figure. He'll be easy to spot, and the other change is Ekdal coming off and Lewicki coming on. Ekdal, who came on in the first match, Lewicki, who started the first match. So they've swapped rounds.
I think it's a positive substitution. I think obviously Erik Hamrén realises that a point is not much use to Sweden. Obviously better than nothing, but it's not much use, and they're going to go for it this last, what have we got, 12-15 minutes to go.
Well, maybe they need their talisman to do something as well. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I'm not sure whether to make a song and dance about that dreadful miss by him, because if the flag was up, it kind of doesn't go down in the official records as even a shot.
No, listen, that's going down as a shot. Don't worry about that. He will never be able to live that down if Sweden don't do something in this game.
The ball is through with Isaksson again in the Swedish goal, all in bright green. Tucks the ball under his right arm and looks downfield to see what the options might be. The main option is the big punt, looking for the big man, Ibrahimovic, who stumbles over, but he still managed to find the man on the edge of the area, who is Durmaz, the substitute, on his left foot. and he scrapes it wide. Into the game early, Durmaz, but not able to take advantage of the loose ball just outside the Italian penalty area.
Yeah, on his front foot, anticipating that second ball, gets on it first, and just can't direct his shot on target. But positive play, and yeah, it's interesting to see how he does for the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes plus stoppage time remaining, to be precise, in this match in Toulouse. It's still Italy 0, Sweden 0 at 5 o'clock. Czech Republic against Croatia on 5 Live. Croatia, Trevor's dark horses, one of the 8 or 9 teams he selected as dark horses. They're playing against the Czech Republic, and it's Spain against Turkey at 8 o'clock.
At the beginning of this tournament, I picked France as my favourites.
Dark horses?
As my favourites. And I picked Croatia, probably because I know a couple of good boys who've been involved in that setup, Davo and Igor Suka. And I just thought they've got a decent couple of players in there, and
well, they've got Modric and Rakitic.
Good team spirit.
To mention just 2, yeah. Croatia could make it 2 out of 2 when they played the Czech Republic at 5 o'clock. I can't remember who my dark horses were. The ball is cleared away.
I think they were Austria.
Really? Okay. The ball is with Bonucci to Thiago Motta. Yes, it was Austria. They've only lost the once, though. They could get back into it with a victory over Ronaldo and Portugal, which is also tomorrow, after we've been back together to bring coverage of Iceland against Hungary to you all. Here on the near side is Florenzi for Italy. Back to Giaccherini, just on the edge of the penalty area. Chips it towards the far post. It's headed onto the bar. And there, rising, was Marco Parolo from midfield, ghosting into the penalty area. Fierce header. Smacks off the crossbar and bounces away for a goal kick.
Brilliant cross by Giaccherini. Oh, he does everything well with the header as well. He just can't get it under that crossbar. Fantastic execution, pulls away, perfect play, great movement, and execution of the header was superb, and just couldn't get it under that crossbar. Great play, and lucky not to go 1-0 ahead.
Yeah, Marco Parolo has never scored for Italy. It won't come much closer than that without doing so. Firm header, beat the goalkeeper. He was aiming for the top corner of the net, and it flicked off the top of the bar. It really did pound against the crossbar as well before going over. It remains Italy 0, Sweden 0. Sweden still alive in the game, and the Italians, had they managed to net there, would have had one foot most definitely in the last 16 at the Euros in 2016. As it is, still goalless. 8 minutes left, Trevor.
Yeah, and I think a point is still a good result for Italy. You know, I think that will probably guarantee them through to the last 16 anyway. They don't want to lose a goal, and they pride themselves on clean sheets, especially the goalkeeper, who's had so many. So you can see this going one way, but if Sweden want to progress, they really need to try and turn this into a win instead of a draw.
Isaacson clears away. Remember Sweden's last matches against the Belgians, who we kind of assume are going to improve, though you never quite know with the Belgians. More than capable of underachieving in several matches. I saw them twice against Wales in the qualifiers. Belgium didn't score in either of those 2 games in Brussels or in Cardiff. They do blow hot and cold. Here, though, is a corner for Sweden. Maybe they can snatch something. Over the ball, Larsson and Kallström to take the corner from the far side. It's being left to Kallström. This time it will be an outswinger from the grasshopper player. Based in Switzerland these days. Kallström with a couple of steps backwards. He's taking careful aim. This could be a big moment for Swedish football. 0-0. Last few minutes. Corner from the far side. Into the near post. Headed over the bar by Granqvist. The referee blew his whistle, though. You might have heard the peep in the background before the header came in. So all ado about nothing.
Not sure about the infringement here.
Bit of a push by the man who headed it.
A little bit of his arms round his neck, yeah. Good call from the ref. He's been very good today. Great cross, though.
Yeah, a replay
fantastic.
At the other end of the one onto the bar.
You know, people say you need to use your left foot down the left wing. Listen, that's a fantastic cross with your right foot, in swinger. It's easier for forwards to time the run. And Florenzi just couldn't get the ball under the crossbar of his header. And he's now been changed, substituted.
Stefano Sturaro has come on. He again plays for Juventus. He was the only uncapped player named in the squad, so a bit of a novice. Sturaro in midfield. And now Marcus Berg is coming on for Sweden, striker for striker, because it's Guidetti who goes off, and Ibrahimovic, who we hear prefers to play alongside Marcus Berg, is getting his wish, but only for the last 5 minutes.
Fresh legs, a little bit of speed, and a lot of hard work from
Italy in possession on the halfway line, and there's been a foul committed on Parolo, and a free kick for Italy, which is taken to the left, and Thiago Motta to Chiellini back to Bonucci, deep inside his own half. Surely he must find a target with one of his through balls. This one's along the floor to Zaza. Zaza works it out to the near side. Giaccherini's done well to keep it in play. Impishly hops infield, plays it wide down the side of the penalty area. In comes the cross from the substitute Sturaro, cleared away by Sweden for a throw-in for Italy into the final 5 minutes. Surely we're not going to have 2 consecutive 0-0 draws at the Euros in 2016.
What a touch that was from Giaccherini.
Oh yeah.
If he's not careful, he'll be starting the season against Pep Guardiola's men this season.
Yeah. He's still with Sunderland, as Giaccherini has been on loan with Bologna. And if Big Sam does change to a tiki-taka style with Sunderland next season, he could be in there.
I'm definitely not holding my breath for that.
A free kick for Sweden. Ibrahimovic has come back into his own half to plant the ball down, but now he's decided he will move forward, ambles forward towards the Italian penalty area. They take the free kick before he gets there, and now it's chipped down this near side to Seb Larsson. Larsson can't reach that one. No, it's run out of play for a goal kick. Again, the thumbs up for the dreadful ball, and it will be a goal kick for Italy. What have you made of, I know he missed the chance, Ibrahimovic? Generally he looks so languid, so laid back. You think, is he giving 100%? I'm sure he is, but it doesn't look that way.
Yeah, I do feel a player like Ibrahimovic, who doesn't really base his game on mobility, needs a really energetic crowd around him, and probably needs a team that are very talented and have a lot of possession, can get the ball into them final thirds with ease, and then play a little bit of tiki-taka, get it into his feet where he can use his size, his good touch, his good awareness, his good link-up play, and come alive just in them small areas. I feel with the Sweden team, he's not quite got that platform to work from, and it's a completely different game to say the least. And he's struggled a little bit. You've not seen much of him, and obviously the miss, which is potentially offside, will be something that he won't pride himself on for this game.
Well, he's played for Ajax and Juve and AC Milan and Inter Milan. Here's Eder, great run by the Italian. Oh, what a goal! Italy have scored in the closing minutes of the game. It's Eder, Brazilian-born but scoring a crunch goal for Italy in Toulouse. A low drill drive inside the far post as he burst into the penalty area. And with 2 minutes on the clock, Italy on the threshold of the last 16. Italy 1, Sweden 0. Eder of Inter Milan.
Incredible finish. What a run, so positive, good flick, gets on it well, controls it, drives at the heart of that defence. The defending's poor, it's got to be said. He goes to ground far too easily, the Swedish defender there, but great positive play, and this finish, that is clinical, right in the stanchion. No chance for Isaacson. 1-0 Italy.
Yes, it was Granqvist was the player that he ran by as if he wasn't there, and then smashed it right-footed, but with a little bit of control as well, to take it beyond Isaacson into the far bottom corner to the goalkeeper's left hand, absolutely right into the back of the rigging. And it's Italy 1, Sweden 0, and Italy are heading for the last 16 with a maximum 6 points. Sweden will be stuck on 1. Ibrahimovic tries a shot from the edge of the penalty area. The Irish might be reasonably happy with this scoreline as well, because it would keep things wide open for second and third in the group.
Yeah, we said that at the top of the show. You know, it was probably a result that Ireland wanted with the way Italy started the tournament with a win. It was probably this one, and it literally, puts Sweden only just staying in this tournament. But yeah, fantastic goal, and timing's everything. They've not played well, but they got the goal at a vital time, and looks like they've got 3 points in the bag.
Well, 22 seconds before we see the fourth official. It's normally 3 minutes added on. Italy coming forward, good advantage played by the referee. There's an opportunity in the middle, but It driven towards the near post there by the overlapping fullback. Candreva it was with a shot beaten away by goalkeeper Isaacs, and it's going to be a corner. But the Swedes committed a foul in midfield. They stopped. The Italians got on with the game. The referee was happy, and it was almost 2-0. We're looking at the goal again. It was a throw-in, headed back to Eder. Eder took it forward 3, 4, 5 little strides, and then the smash into the corner, and a big hug from his manager, Antonio Conte, who makes sure his nose and his teeth are intact. And it is 1-0 for Italy.
And that's what we were missing in the first half. You know, Pella and Eder just didn't link up well, and there you see it from the throw-in. Zaza wins the header, Eder gets the second ball, and he goes through and scores. And that's the kind of link-up you need with your centre-forward pairing when you play two up front. They've got to stay close to each other, and they've got to support each other, and that is exactly a great execution of that.
Yeah. The Swedes being pegged back now in the final seconds of the game. We're into stoppage time. It is 1-0 to Italy on 5 Live. It's going to be 6 points out of 6 and 2 clean sheets, unless the Swedes can produce something truly dramatic in these dying embers of the game. Italy tried to keep the ball in the corner flag, but they've committed a foul, and it will be a free kick. 3 minutes added on. We've had 1 minute already. There were 6 last night, but the only reason for that was a hailstorm. Otherwise it seems to be 3 at virtually every game at the end of the 90 minutes. Ibrahimovic coming forward now for Sweden. He's blocked out of it. It's cleared away to the far side by the Italians. Thiago Motta it was with a clearance. Throw in for Sweden. They've still got it on the far side. It's back with Johansson. Long ball forward looking for Ibrahimovic, and Granqvist through the middle. Granqvist was pushing his man, and he's been penalised again. He was the man who fell over rather awkwardly, outmanoeuvred by Eder for the goal. He's trying to make amends at the other end, but he's pushed his man.
Yeah, again, incredible defending. I can't speak highly enough of Chiellini's decision making, his positional sense, his reading of the game as a central three. I think them three have done exceptionally well. The wing backs have broken forward very well for the Italians as well, and put some decent deliveries into the box, and again execute a game plan. I think Conte's pulled this one off, and the players have done everything they've been instructed to do.
The Italians have been guilty of time wasting. Would you believe that? How strange is that? Buffon is going to get the yellow card.
Why me?
They had a free kick on the edge of the penalty area. Buffon was pretending he was going to take it, but he said, no, Chiellini, you take it. And then Chiellini said, actually, I think, Mr. Buffon, you should take it. And the referee was very impatient, and he's also booked Olsen for the tackle much earlier on. Remember when we said the advantage was played?
Yep.
Olsen it was with a foul tackle. He's into the book for Sweden, but he won't be suspended for their last game. It's his first booking.
But impressed with Raza. He's come on and done well. You know, looks lively, he's energetic, and been involved in the goal. Obviously he's got an assist. Great introduction. That's what you want from your substitutions. Conte's brought him on. Can you bring anything positive to the team? Yes, you can. A nice assist and 3 points for Italy, it seems.
Yeah, the Italian media will be delighted again. The dream can go on for Italy. They'll be through to the knockout stages along with the French. The referee's looking at his watch. We've played more than the additional 3 minutes. There'll be a bit of time for that kidology over the free kick, which resulted in the yellow card for Buffon. And Sweden have got time again to pump a long one into the penalty area, headed away by Chiellini to Granqvist, played in by Seb Larsson, should be headed away this time by Parolo, who hit the bar, remember, for the Italians, who've been much better in the second half. In comes a cross from Lindelof. It's still inside the penalty area. The Swedish player goes down. They're screaming on the top of their voices for a penalty, but the referee points in the other direction. It's that man Granqvist again who's in there mixing it with the big Italian defenders. He's a massive man himself. He went plunging to the floor there under pressure from Bonucci, and Bonucci, I think, was going for the ball, and Granqvist decided the only way Sweden were going to get something from this game was to fall on the floor. But having seen it from another angle, there was a little bit of shirt pulling in there as well from Bonucci. And there is the full-time whistle too. A controversial ending. The Swedes were imploring the referee to give them a penalty. But Italy have won. Italy won. Sweden 0. Italia advance to the knockout stages. with a perfect record of 2 wins out of 2, 3 goals scored, none conceded, and the worst Italian team for half a century march on.
Yeah, it wasn't the most entertaining game, I have to say, or performance from the Italians. They certainly weren't cavalier, and a lot of people said before this tournament, Antonio Conte is going to be the Chelsea manager. This might be a look into the crystal ball of what Chelsea will be like next season. And it's solid, it's competitive, they're winning games, but is it entertaining? Great win for the Italians, but the Swedes will be disappointed they didn't get anything from that game.
Italy, though, were much better in the second half. They created chances, they hit the bar, and we saw Isaacson having to make some saves.
Absolutely, they very much so improved the second half. I feel Pella was poor first half, he didn't really bring a lot to the Italian team. I thought Raza came on, his introduction was key. He linked up much better with Eder up there, the front two. Giaccherini improved, and all in all, they looked like they had more desire to get forward and score a goal, which is the typical Italian way. They don't want to give anything away easy, and I'm sure Conte instructed them, and they've executed it brilliantly well. And look at them enjoying the time.
Yeah, Buffon is swinging on the crossbar again. I hope he doesn't slip this time, celebrating with the outnumbered Italian fans. But there we go, the Italians shaded it every which way, including on the scoreboard. Full time, Italy 1, Sweden 0.